The spine tore from the being's body much easier than Roak had anticipated, causing him to almost lose his footing as he slid backward, his boots slipping across the vast quantities of blood that had already been spilled. Not a drop of the blood was Roak's. Roak let the spine fall from his gore-covered armored glove. He flexed the powerful fingers, a grin playing at the edge of his lips that were protected behind a nearly indestructible faceplate. The faceplate was connected to an impressive-looking helmet, which was in turn secured to power armor that would have made every galactic fleet marine in the galaxy jealous. "Hessa," Roak called into his comm as he looked about the blood and the offal that coated nearly every square centimeter of his ship's hold. "How many more coming?" 15 beings. Hessa, Roak's AI counterpart and co-pilot, replied over the comm. "ETA is 2 minutes. "What races?" Roak asked, as he glanced down at the 7 Grecs that had tried to kill him as soon as he'd lowered the rear hatch of his Borgon 838 stealth incursion ship. Grecs were a humanoid race, with forearms and stone skin that was nearly impervious to most weapons. An average Grec stood at least 7 feet tall, and had muscles upon muscles to back up their aggressive personalities. Regardless of their size, their strength, or the armor-like qualities of their skin, Roak had made easy work of the 7 beings. "Most are Grecs," Hessa replied, "but there are 3 Tachirians with them, fully taloned and about to shift into, and they are gone. You have 3 Tachirians in full invisibility mode, Roak. Be careful. Their talons can penetrate your new armor." "Not this armor," Roak said. "I didn't spend a bounty's worth of chits on this getup so I'd end up pierced by Tachirian foot talons." "And hand talons," Hessa said. "Theirs are not clipped." That gave Roak pause. Tachirians were a chameleon race, able to change their skin so they could camouflage and blend into any surroundings. Naked, they could become completely invisible. Lizard-like, yet humanoid, they sported a long and deadly sharp talon that extended from the top of each large toe. Unbeknownst to most of the galaxy, Tachirians were also born with a matching talon on their hands. Once they hit puberty, the talon could be retracted into the back of the hand and hidden until needed. Except in polite galactic society, it was seen as unbecoming for prepubescent Tachirian children to walk around with extended talons that quickly grew to twice the length of their index fingers. So, similar to the ancient practice of humans circumcising their male infants, Tachirian children had their hand talons surgically removed before reaching the age of 2 galactic standard years. It took some knowledge of Tachirian culture to know about the talon removal. Roak had paused because he had knowledge that went beyond the cultural implications of Tachirians that had retained their talons. Only the elite T'Chaka clan were allowed to keep their hand talons, and the T'Chaka were considered some of the deadliest assassins in the galaxy. Even the savage Scrang steered clear of them if possible. "Would now be a bad time to remind you that it was my idea to upgrade to the Caxian power armor?" Hessa asked. "You want to rub that in right now?" Roak snapped. "Seemed fitting," Hessa replied, a smirk in her voice. Despite being an AI, Hessa had acquired quite the extensive list of affectations, including how to sound like she was smirking, even though she had no physical body. Roak had grown used to her affectations, although the current smirk irritated him greatly. "I said, and correct me if I'm wrong," Hessa began. "Hessa," Roak warned, not wanting to be lectured yet again on what he was doing. "I said," Hessa continued, "that if you are going to insist on rampaging across the galaxy to exact revenge on the man that wronged you, then you should seriously consider upgrading from light armor to power armor." "I know." "And you said you didn't want to waste the chits when light armor was perfectly good for your intended purposes. I replied that some of your intended targets would be quite formidable, more so than you were used to dealing with. And perhaps the added protection, not to mention the offensive abilities of the armor, would be worth the expense." "I know, Hessa," Roak snarled,